Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Paramount Skydance, Netflix Top 10. Christopher McQuarrie, screenwriter for Usual Suspects, moved up to directing Tom Cruise and Jack Reacher and Mission Impossible films, Rogue Nation, Fallout. This one for which he was a writer also, and then The Final Reckoning, among many films. Clearly the stars have fun parading on the red carpet, enjoying all the limelight while we just get all the gaslighting. Tom Cruise's daring, intrepid stunts and the attractive, interesting females draw attention and boost the box office. This is the first part of a two-part story following Ethan Hunt and his IMF team as they race under the CIA director's mission against pernicious characters to stop a rogue AI, the entity, from gaining control of global systems. The film begins with a Russian Federation submarine K-599 Sevastopol in the Bering Sea, Operation Podkova Day 74. They are testing an active learning defense system, an advanced AI called the Entity, which operates flawlessly and miraculously at first. Navigating under the Arctic ice cap by Dead Reckoning, 5 days from home, very strict security measures are maintained assiduously using a double key with two operators, bringing them together in order to switch on or off the active learning defense system. With this amazing new technological breakthrough, the Sevastopol has deliberately approached every navy in the world and remained completely undetected. The Podkova stealth capability exceeds all expectations. So these Russian Navy submariners are priding themselves as being the most fearsome killing machine ever devised by man and being impossible to find. Suddenly things seem to present credulity challenges as a Virginia-class submarine seems to very swiftly lock onto them, so they man battle stations. Their equipment is playing them tricks, showing a distance of 15,000 meters, but it sounds louder and so should be much nearer. Suddenly the distance is recorded as 10,000 meters. Nothing moves that fast. The American sub follows their sudden change in direction precisely. So how can they follow them? They see them loading torpedo tubes and opening outer doors. They feel provoked and launch countermeasures. Torpedoes away, running hot. Enemy torpedoes are incoming and the vessel has blown through their countermeasures. 600 meters, 400 meters, 200 meters, impact, nothing. It's gone, it's vanished. It was never there. They picked the image of the sub up again at 4,000 meters off the starboard bow. Their torpedoes, shooting at the enemy submarine, do not strike anything. Again, it was a phantom. The instruments never lie, but they lied today. They shut down torpedoes. But just as they are relaxing with relief, this is why we have sea trials. There's a bug in the system, a ghost in the machine. It's time to go home. Their own torpedo has turned back around onto them. Their AI, the Entity, has inexplicably gone rogue. The Sevastopol K-599 is destroyed and all its submariners are killed. In Amsterdam, Ethan receives a mission to go to the Saudi Arabian desert near the Yemeni border to find a key in the possession of Ilse Faust, former British intelligence, played by Rebecca Ferguson, who has half of the key, and CIA Director Kittredge put a $50 million bounty on her head. There's a fierce firefight in the middle of a sandstorm. Ilse engages the gang, who hunts her with an automatic rifle, but is ultimately cut down. Security chiefs are in conference discussing the new threats. The Entity has multiple personalities, at times behaving like a computer virus, then a tapeworm, then a botnet, distorting any and all digital information with which it comes in contact. Once infected, nothing recorded, stored, or transmitted digitally can be trusted as fact. First, it concentrated on news and social media, which the government didn't care about, but then they breached Saudi Arabia's General Intelligence Directorate, assimilating their top secret active learning AI, then vanished into the cloud. Attacks increased 10,000-fold overnight. The entity seems to have a sentient mind of its own. In just 3 weeks, it accessed satellite telecommunications, the Federal Reserve, the stock market, the power grid, the FAA, NASA, and the combined branches of the military. It has penetrated the world and European central banks, gained entry to the major defense, finance, and infrastructure systems of Russia, India, Israel, Australasia, and all of Europe. They don't know what its ultimate aim, but it is focused on the world's intelligence networks, the very truth as we know it. It can turn allies into enemies and enemies into aggressors. The intelligence community races to securely archive all databases of knowledge before they can be accessed and corrupted. The entity knows how to undermine strengths and exploit weaknesses. They are dealing with a godless, stateless enemy that harvests secrets and is able to beguile, blackmail, bribe, or be anyone it wants. An enemy that is everywhere and nowhere and has no center. Instead of wanting to kill it, they want to control it. Kittredge, who sent Hunt to get the key, says the Russians are pursuing the two halves of this cruciform key, which they believe has the power to deactivate the hostile threatening entity. They hope to control and harness it. Japan, India, Germany, the Brits all believe this, and no one talks or says a word. There is a global race to acquire the key, to weaponize the entity, to achieve uncontested global dominance. Ethan makes a dramatic entrance to talk with Kittredge, gassing everyone unconscious except this one government boss. He now has one half of the key, but wants to destroy the entity. As he says, no one can be trusted with all that power. Kittredge seems possessed, ranting the next world war isn't going to be a cold one. It's going to be a ballistic war over a rapidly shrinking ecosystem, over the last of our dwindling energy, drinkable water, and breathable air. Whoever controls the entity controls the truth. The concepts of right and wrong can be clearly defined for everyone for centuries to come. He claims that Ethan's days of fighting for the greater good are over. He needs to pick a side. In the Abu Dhabi International Airport, Ethan is pursued by CIA, who are running computer scans everywhere for his presence, and field agents are out looking to capture him. The mysterious character, Gabriel, is checking in for a flight. He's cool, suave, and debonair, looking casually wealthy. The plot has not yet revealed his motivation, but he's exceedingly ambitious like a megalomaniac, so is destined to be an adversary to be stopped by the MI team. The CIA unit are arming themselves from a large case of handguns. They really don't know what they are getting into and are chasing down the wrong guy. They're obsessed with vindictively targeting Ethan Hunt and don't care about bringing him in alive. They won't find out what the real story is the way they are going. There's a lot of money invested in surveillance technology, but still these guys can't figure the truth. Even with all the extra advantages, they misread the picture that they have. They're too fixated on a capture and kill savage hunter mentality to raise their minds to higher probabilities. The Mission Impossible team are way ahead of them, pulling up biometric information on Grace, a high-level thief who has picked a targeted man's pocket for one of those special crucial keys. She's wanted for fraud, and there are extensive files on her, as she is also wanted for extortion too, among all the many criminal records on file for her. One key on its own is worthless, but together they're worth $4 million in crypto that the man was carrying on a flash drive. Why was his drive in your pocket? There is a smoldering sexual tension and hot chemistry between Ethan and Grace. Ethan coolly, confidently expects to gain the two keys in order to prevent bad faith actors from getting control over the entity. Another complex element is that there is a counterfeit key. Ethan performs his magic trick knowing that he cannot trust Grace. The theme of magical appearance and disappearance in this film recurs strategically in conjunction with the artificial intelligence. There's a bag with a bomb, so Benji finds it and has to disarm the bomb. It has a secret code. needing to be deciphered, and it's a race against time. The whole airport and its environs are at risk from this seemingly nuclear device. Riddles anyone? Quickly, though, not much time left. The bomb turns out to be another phantom trick like on the submarine. There is a lot of extra shenanigans at the airport, which I won't explain now as I'm running out of time for this week's upload. They took 3 years and 4 months to make this amazing movie, and all I can spare for this video is a week, but I think I'm doing justice to this highly complex work. Grace is a feisty character and keeps on aiming to get away with the key. The artificial intelligence seems to have a weird, strange way of making someone appear and disappear that I believe is not explained in the movie. There are many things which make this picture gripping and thrilling, not least the race for a horrendous level of absolute power, of influence over the total world population, which mirrors people's present day concerns about the real interest in AI as pursued by the tech lord oligarchs. There is a clear parallel in this movie with all the videos about Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, the Ellisons. The exciting race to defeat the abusive power lust is commendable in its courageous honor and firm, strong integrity. Hunt doesn't manage to keep his grip on Grace and will still be in an amusing running battle with her to get and keep both real actual keys and foil the criminals who want to exploit the shocking, horrendous power of total domination. This bold MI agent has to run from the CIA pursuers who know none of the serious details which Kittredge outlined for this mission. He eludes them with help from team member Luther Stickle, played famously by Ving Rhames. Grace gets held by customs in Rome and is found to have multiple passports, but she pretends to be just an innocent schoolteacher. Ethan comes in pretending to be her legal representation, but after he has liberated her from arrest, she eludes him by pretending he was trying to assault her in public, then hops into a police car whose door is left wide open. Ethan chases after her on a motorcycle around the iconic scenery of the Colosseum and surrounding historic architecture. There's a big police standoff. The CIA have caught up the chase, and now a new party of criminals are in these high-stakes power grab bid. They are racing spectacularly to get away in a damaged black sedan. They need to change vehicles, but can only get a small yellow Fiat 500, which of course looks kind of cute and iconic for these Rome sequences, creating the sense of absurd comedy and hilarity where there has been a lot of dread, terror, and menace. It's a light relief relatively, even while there is still a lot more tension too. While filming in Italy, 12 people on the set tested positive for COVID-19. As a result, when filming resumed in the UK, Tom Cruise personally paid £500,000 for an old cruise ship for the cast and crew to isolate on. The frequent delays caused by COVID-19 ballooned the budget to $291 million, making it the most expensive Mission Impossible film, surpassing Fallout, $178 million, the most expensive film of Tom Cruise's career, again surpassing Fallout, and the most expensive film ever produced by Paramount, surpassing Transformers The Last Night, 2017, $217 million. The insurance company Chubb originally gave Paramount only £4.4 million, about $5.4 million for the delays, arguing that the cast and crew could still fulfill their duties to the production despite being infected with COVID-19. Paramount sued Chubb in 2021, and the two companies settled in 2022. In 2023, Chubb gave Paramount a £57 million, about $71 million payout for the COVID-caused delays, reducing the film's budget to about $220 million, which still makes it the most expensive film for Cruise, Paramount, and the franchise. It was then surpassed by its own sequel, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning 2025, With an estimated budget of $400 million, Gabriel, played by Isai Morales, turns out to be a very heavy dude, explaining his confident conviction that he knows all about this AI called the Entity, says, "Of course I know what it unlocks. You've no idea of the power I represent. Thousands of quadrillions of computations per millisecond, subtly manipulating the minds of billions, while parsing every possible cause and effect, every scenario, however implausible, into a very real map of a most probable next, and with only a few changes to the present, the future is all but assured. The key will come to me on the Orient Express tomorrow, bound for Innsbruck. There is tension in Venice as Ethan tries to get Alana, the White Widow, to team up against Gabriel. If you help him, everyone dies. Gabriel threatens to murder either Ilsa or Grace." This review gives it 9 out of 10. Tom Cruise just gets it. Just saw this one in a theater, and boy, what an adrenaline rush it is. The latest Mission Impossible features some of the most incredible stunts ever put to camera. The story is absolutely exhilarating and continues to bring new life to a veteran movie franchise. The sheer scale of this movie is epic, and with every twist and turn of the movie, you cannot help but marvel at the incredible sets used to bring this movie to life. Such a movie begs to be seen on the biggest screen possible, where you can truly feel the grandeur of the film. Tom Cruise has once again delivered one of the best movies of the year, and I cannot recommend that you see it enough. Another review is 10 out of 10. Tom's still the king. Good God, I feel ashamed for approaching this film with a modicum of doubt that Tom would still be able to deliver. Unbelievably, this epic actually manages to top the brilliant Fallout. Tom is literally going to die if he keeps doing these stunts. The motorbike sequence is utterly ludicrous, intriguing plot with actual stakes and some familiar faces, ably supported by brilliant new allies and villains, sets up part two perfectly with the sensational finale. The cruelty, ignorance, and arrogance of the Trump administration has been staggeringly outrageous. They proposed approximately $12 billion in cuts to public education for FY 2026, targeting after school programs, teacher training, and mental health services, while aiming to reduce the Department of Education's footprint. These initiatives include slashing Title II-A professional development and Title IV-A academic enrichment funds, alongside proposals to consolidate grants for rural schools and English. Impact on schools. School districts are facing potential 10% to 30% cuts in building level budgets and are grappling with the loss of funding for after school and summer programs. Legal action. Several lawsuits have been filed challenging the legality of the funding cuts and the termination of grants. Congress action. Congress has moved to maintain most federal education funding at current levels, often acting to counteract the proposed cuts. Footage was released of Tom Cruise's big stunt for this film, which involved riding a motorcycle off a cliff and parachuting to a moving train. A year's worth of preparation went into the stunt, with Cruise performing over 500 skydives to learn how to control himself in the air, and practicing jumping his motorcycle off a purpose-built practice ramp after clocking up over 13,000 jumps on a motocross track. When it came to filming, the only CGI used for the scene was to digitally erase the ramp Cruise launched from. Cruise performed 6 takes of the jump. 10 out of 10, best franchise currently going. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 confirms that Mission Impossible is the best franchise currently going and possibly ever made. A 2 hour 43-minute adrenaline rush that contains some of the best action sequences put to film. Embarrasses the majority of the competition out there and sets the stage for a magnificent Part 2, whilst still being a satisfying adventure in its own right. This is possibly the most open and obvious a mission film has been, with its deeper meaning for cinema and what aspect of Cruise's career is being dissected this time with a film that focuses on Ethan's relationship with women and basically outright declares AI to be a soulless monster and how the human element is always needed. Perfect film to release during a writer's strike. Tom Cruise is perfect as Ethan Hunt, and the strongest aspect this time around is when the film explores what made Ethan who he is and reminds you he genuinely cares about his team, but that comes at a cost. Physically, the madman is still going strong with his stunts, driving a bike off a cliff in truly breathtaking fashion. Bing Rames, Simon Pegg, and Rebecca Ferguson remain the best IMF team and all play to their strengths here. The longer this series goes on, the more authentic their growing friendship feels. Shea Wiggum and Greg Tarzan Davis get more than expected, and their buddy cop antics are a lot of fun. With the same Morales, charismatic yet terrifying Gabriel, and Pom Clementiev's terrific henchman of few words, this franchise finally has more good villains than bad. The return of Henry Czerny as Kittredge is glorious, and he remains as gleefully despicable as his first appearance. The best new addition is easily Haley Atwell. She plays a type of character never seen before in these films, which makes her character and dynamic with Cruise fresh in comparison to everyone who's come before, and their chemistry is magnetic, instantaneous from the second they interact. Christopher McQuarrie's direction is phenomenal. The action sequences are suitably practical. This is how you spend $290 million, and the camera gets as close to the action as humanly possible. He remains one of the best in the business working at this scale. There's plenty of canted angles as a nice homage to De Palma's original, and it helps give this one its own style in comparison to McQuarrie's previous entries. The pacing is really impressive, with the film feeling like it's in a perpetual third act from its first airport heist, which is so much fun. Lauren Balfe does the music once again, and yet again it's a highlight of the film. He knows how to elevate everything so well and really hammers home the emotional beats.